Vanessa invited Betty and her boyfriend Paul to a punk rock event at her club. She even gave Betty one of her own outfits: plaid skirt, thigh highs, crop top, boots, and studded accessories. Betty was thrilled. She rushed to Paul's house to show him the outfit and tell him the news. Paul was excited too, until she held up the clothes. His face dropped. "No way. You're not wearing that. You'll look like a slut." The fight escalated fast. Betty snapped, threw the outfit in his face, and stormed out. "Fine, you wear it." Paul stood over the pile of clothes, rolling his eyes. What a drama queen. Makes a big deal out of everything. He picked up the studded choker. "You want me to wear it? Fine. Look at me now." He snapped it around his neck. The choker tightened, sealing itself like it had a mind of its own. A thin whisper of wind drifted through the room, followed by a cool mist that sent a vibration through his body. His waist narrowed, his chest swelled into unfamiliar weight, and his skin softened. He gasped, stumbling back, repeating, "No, no, no, what is happening?" But the voice coming out wasn't his anymore. It was higher, lighter, almost unfamiliar enough to scare him. The skirt slid across the floor, wrapping itself around his narrowing hips. The top lifted and fastened against his swelling chest, tightening as if it had been waiting for that exact shape. The thigh highs slithered up his reshaping legs, and the boots marched forward, forcing his feet inside with a decisive snap. He stumbled to the mirror. A punk girl stared back. Panicking, he called Betty. She answered, confused, because a girl's voice was claiming to be Paul. After stumbling explanations, she finally understood it really was him. Vanessa, standing beside her at the club, heard every word. Vanessa took the phone from Betty and spoke quietly. She explained that the outfit carried glamour, and since Paul had put it on without asking, the magic reacted, changing him into her image. All he needed to do was return the outfit, and the changes would unwind on their own in a day or so. Then, with a soft, mischievous lilt, she added that unless Betty wanted to have a little fun with this and teach him a lesson. Betty's eyes widened. "What did you have in mind?" she said with a sly smile. Vanessa's smile deepened as she suggested he come to the club right away before it was too late to reverse anything. Betty relayed the message, but Paul refused, insisting he couldn't go out looking like this. Betty didn't argue. She simply said that if he wanted to stay a girl, that was entirely his choice. Then, with a small shrug, she added she'd just have to find a new boyfriend. Though on the bright side, she could always find a boyfriend for Paul too, so they could double date. "Okay, I'll be there," Paul muttered, defeated. Moments later, he slipped into the club. Betty was waiting by the door. She looked him over once and smiled. "Paul, is that you? You look lovely in that outfit. Not like a slut at all." After a quick introduction to Vanessa, they handed Paul a tiny list of required tasks. Task 1, find some random girl in the club and ask her to help him with makeup. Paul stared at it. "This is a joke, right?" Betty tapped the list against his arm. "Better get moving, Paul. The more time you waste, the less likely you'll turn back into yourself." Paul shuffled across the dance floor toward the ladies' lounge, clutching the list like it might save him. He'd barely made it 3 steps before a guy spun around, grinned, and grabbed his hand. "Hey, dance with me." Paul froze as the guy pulled him into a spin, eyes wide and helpless. Across the room, Vanessa and Betty watched with total amusement. Betty cupped her hands around her mouth and called out, "Work it, Paula! Don't step on his toes!" Paul finally broke free and hurried into the ladies' lounge. He dropped onto a stool and stared at his reflection. Wide eyes, trembling lip, a stranger looking back. Tears started before he could stop them. A warm voice chimed in beside him. "Oh, honey, what's wrong?" Paul tried to answer, but only a shaky breath came out. "Come on," the woman said softly, handing him a tissue. "Let's dry those eyes and fix your makeup." Paul stepped out of the lounge with picture-perfect makeup, hoping the worst was over. Betty intercepted him immediately, tapping the next line on the list. "Sweetheart, next task. Find a cute guy, take a photo with him, and get his phone number." Paul blinked. A phone number?" Betty smiled sweetly. "Mm-hmm. And smile in the picture. No hostage faces." Paul wandered past the VIP section, clutching the phone like it might explode, scanning for a cute guy who wouldn't terrify him. Every option looked worse than the last. He turned quickly and bumped straight into a guy. They ended up inches apart. The guy grinned. "Lucky me. Hey there, beautiful. Come sit with me, have a drink. Before Paul could protest, he was gently steered into a booth. One drink became two, and before long he felt strangely relaxed, smiling for a few cute photos the guy insisted on taking. When the moment came, Paul swallowed hard, forced a sweet smile, and asked for his number. The guy handed over his number without hesitation. Paul slipped away quietly, clutching the number like it was gold. He returned to Betty, who greeted him with a sly, knowing smile. Without a word, she took his hand and pulled him onto the dance floor. A slow song drifted through the club, and the two of them swayed together, the world softening around them. For the first time all night, Paul wasn't panicking. He was just floating. Betty leaned in, her voice warm against his ear. You did all the tasks, Paul. Every single one. She paused, letting the moment breathe. But if you want to explore this a little more, we could head back to my place. Suddenly, the urgency of turning back into himself felt distant, like a problem belonging to someone he barely remembered. The warmth of Betty's arms, the soft sway of the music, the way she held him as if he already belonged there. It filled him with a strange, rising anticipation he couldn't push away. His breath trembled as he leaned closer, the music wrapping around them like a spell. In a soft, shaky whisper, he answered, Yes. I want this. I want you.